The so-called billion-dollar deal involving Alex Eala exploded across social media like wildfire. It was in your notifications, in your group chats, and probably sent to you by a Tito or a coworker who had never watched a single tennis match in their life. The headlines were staggering. The numbers were unbelievable. The narrative felt electric. But there was one massive problem. It was all a lie. What almost no one discussed, however, was the real scandal. Not the fake contract itself, but the carefully constructed deception machine behind it, a system designed to profit from emotion, national pride, and blind trust. And at the center of this storm stood one of the most promising athletes the Philippines has ever produced. To understand why these lies spread so fast, we first need to understand how quickly the truth rose. Just a year ago, Alex Eala was ranked number 139 in the world. Pause for a moment and consider that. 139. She was known mostly within Philippine tennis circles, a junior Grand Slam champion, a prodigy with enormous potential, and a beacon of hope for a IAEM nation hungry for sporting heroes. But the professional tour is a different world entirely. It devours talent. It humbles prodigies. It breaks the unprepared. Yet Alex did not break. Instead, she exploded. Within months, she stormed into the WTA top 100. Then she reached the semifinals of the Miami Open, defeating Grand Slam champions and elite veterans one after another. She became the first Filipino in history to win a main draw match in a modern-era Grand Slam at the US Open. She captured her first WTA challenger title in Guadalajara. By September 2025, she was ranked 57th in the world. By early 2026, she was climbing higher still, quarterfinal appearances in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, pushing top 5 players to their limits, earning global respect. She was only 20 years old. Stadiums filled with Filipino supporters wherever she played. Flags waved. Voices roared. Hope traveled thousands of miles to stand behind her. She had become more than a tennis player. She had become a symbol. And when that kind of ascent happens, something else follows. Viral attention. The kind that doesn't care about truth. The kind that doesn't distinguish fact from fiction. The kind that feeds on clicks, emotion, and outrage. And that was when the machine started. It began like most modern scandals do, with a Facebook post, then another, then dozens more. Claims spread that Alex had signed a staggering $16 billion contract with a Middle Eastern billionaire, making her the highest-paid athlete in history. The story said she would become the queen of diamond tennis in Abu Dhabi, with massive annual payments, luxury residences, and global promotional obligations. $16 billion. For perspective, that figure dwarfed the largest contracts in sports history. It was several times larger than the biggest baseball deal ever signed. The number alone should have triggered skepticism. Instead, it ignited celebration. Graphics flooded timelines. Photoshopped images of Alex beside powerful figures went viral. Comment sections overflowed with pride, congratulations, and national celebration. Parents were tagged. Group chats lit up. Entire communities shared the story without question. Why wouldn't they? Alex was in Abu Dhabi. She was winning matches. She was in headlines. The timing was perfect. Too perfect. But this wasn't the first fabricated story. Before that came the fake Wilson sponsorship worth $45 million. Then the fake Emirates Airlines endorsement, promising free first-class flights and multi-million-dollar annual pay. Then came the false charity donations, invented presidential bonuses, and manipulated AI-generated images of her family's struggles. One lie built on another. When investigators examined the pattern, something alarming emerged. This wasn't random fan enthusiasm. This was organized digital exploitation. At least 6 interconnected Facebook pages and multiple websites systematically published sensational stories about Alex. Each article contained heavy advertising, sometimes over 20 ads on a single page. These sites mimicked news platforms but lacked editorial transparency, accountability, or professional structure. Their sole purpose was traffic generation. Every click meant money. Every share meant profit. Every emotional reaction fed the system. Behind the scenes, user data was harvested through cookies and tracking pixels. Visitors were monitored, retargeted, and sold to advertising networks. What looked like harmless fan hype was actually a calculated business operation. Alex's image became the bait. Her success, her youth, her nationality, all were weaponized. Her name was attached to political narratives she never expressed. Her identity was manipulated to generate outrage and engagement. And none of it happened with her consent. Imagine being 20 years old, competing at the highest level of world tennis, carrying the hopes of a nation, while strangers on the internet rewrite your life for profit. When the controversy reached national news, many expected anger, a public statement, legal threats, emotional backlash. Instead, Alex responded with calm, clarity, and grace. Asked about the fake stories during a press interview, she simply said she had no control over what others post. She acknowledged the danger of misinformation, noting how easily people are misled online. Then she delivered a statement that cut deeper than outrage ever could. She urged fans to rely on credible sources, to verify before sharing, to pause and think. 5 sentences. That was all it took. She refused to feed the machine. By staying grounded, she denied the scandal the oxygen it needed to grow, and in doing so, she revealed the truth. Not just about her story, but about the modern internet itself, because here's the real contradiction. Alex's actual achievements were more remarkable than any fake headline. Her victories over Grand Slam champions, her breakthrough into the top 45, her historic performances, her relentless discipline, these real milestones received a fraction of the attention compared to fabricated billionaire deals. The lies traveled faster than truth, and that is no accident. In ayer. Today's digital economy, outrage generates revenue. Shock creates traffic. Fantasy sells better than reality. Algorithms reward emotion, not accuracy. And so the system favors exaggeration. Those behind the fake pages understood this. They knew Filipino pride was powerful. They knew emotional stories spread fastest. They exploited that love, converting admiration into profit. This is the true billion-dollar scandal, not a non-existent contract, but the systematic exploitation of collective hope. And through it all, Alex kept playing. She trained. She competed, she won, she lost, she improved, she stayed disciplined, she let her racket speak instead of her anger. At 20, she already possesses a maturity many never reach. Her genuine endorsements, real brands, real partnerships were built through years of discipline, not digital deception. She earned them through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless work. Not one of them required fake headlines, and she continues to rise. Yet the broader danger remains. How many people still believe the billion-dollar lie? How many now view Alex as a manufactured celebrity instead of a hardworking professional athlete? How? Does this distortion affect a young woman still forming her public identity? What does it do to a generation of fans who are learning to confuse viral headlines with reality? These are the uncomfortable questions this scandal forces us to confront. Because Alex will be fine. She has talent, resilience, and a support system. But the machinery that targeted her remains intact, ready to attach itself to the next rising star. Any young Filipino athlete who breaks through will face the same exploitation once their name becomes profitable. And so the responsibility falls on us. The fans, the viewers, the sharers. Every time a shocking headline appears, promising unimaginable wealth or unbelievable gifts, pause. Ask yourself, is this real? Or is someone selling emotion? Because truth deserves patience. And lies thrive on speed. Alex Eala's real story, her discipline, her grit, her rise from junior champion to world-class competitor, is far more inspiring than any fake billionaire fantasy, and one day she may truly become a global icon. When that happens, she will deserve every headline. Until then, the greatest victory we can give her is protecting her story, not by amplifying noise, but by choosing truth.